In the process of cleaning the garage, I've lost my Comet Empire set.
Ooh, not good. Close to the end, aren't we?
Yeah, I was counting that up because I was thinking, all right, so this is going to be episode 19 and 20, and I think we only have 6 more episodes, correct?
Yeah, so it'll be 3 more Anime Freak shows, and then we're going to be done with the first season of Starblazers.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go into Akira.
Akira!
Tetsuo!
And then the little, I remember it was like a little teddy bear or something.
I haven't seen it since I was in college, so I don't remember. I remember the big scenes. I don't remember the whole movie.
Yeah, that same here. I mean, I remember there's like the American general, I think, that's going after them. I remember the tank scene, stuff like that. And then when I was cleaning the garage, we were talking before we started, I found my, I have a hard case, metal case DVD that I bought like a special edition. Probably around the year 2000 or earlier. So I'll probably watch it with that, see if there's anything special on that. I don't remember if there's any special, behind
the scenes stuff or anything like that.
Yeah, or any vignettes or anything. And if there are, they're probably all on YouTube anyway. So if I find any, I'll shoot them your way so you can look at them too. So yeah, that's going to be our plan after we finish up.
That'll be early next year if we keep on going at this rate.
Yeah, because this should come out. This should be coming out in what we're doing right now. Should be coming out in November, and then we'd have December. So
October.
Well, thank you. I just jumped through the entire month of October. I did 2 space warps in a day. Which I'm like, because that'll come up the show. I'm like, 2 space warps in a day?
Yeah.
Wow. First thing in the morning and last thing at night. You guys are just asking for trouble, or they're just getting used to them or something.
Well, they're starting to enjoy that trippiness of them.
Whoa, man. We need to do another space warp, dude.
I'm jonesing for a space warp.
Yeah, that and Dr. Sane is slamming a sake. Although that was in the Japanese version, not the...
Right.
I don't know if I'm sure you looked over the notes for the Japanese version.
I did, yes.
Yeah. But do we have any new anime news before we get into the subject at hand?
Nothing new. I did, as of this morning, I have finished watching Total Eclipse. Now, I believe last episode I was saying how you get through it and then they add another character and starts getting to like the anime soap opera, one guy, 3 girls interested in him, etc., etc. Well, it goes on like that for a little bit, and then it kicks you squarely in the balls.
Oh.
Yeah, it gets really dark at the very end. And I'll say this. I'm not going to spoil it, but I will say this. That there were clues of what was coming in the episodes leading up to that. And once the big hit reveal comes, it's like, holy shit, I didn't think of that, but yes, it makes sense.
Okay.
So that's all I will say for anyone who has not finished it.
How many episodes total?
25.
Is it just one season?
It's just one season. They have not made a second season, although they set up a second season at the end of this one. As far as I know, they have not made a second season.
All right, well, I'll have to get back on that train. So what do you got planned for next? Do you have anything in the queue?
I may veer off of anime and go and watch a little Ultraman. Because there's a lot of that available, and every time I hear Luke talk about it one of his Earth Destruction Directive episodes. I want to get back into watching it. I've seen like 3 episodes so far of the first Ultraman.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go on to Crunchyroll, they have like 6 other Ultraman series.
Oh, I know. I remember the episode that he did with Shag with the Doctor Who and Ultraman one.
Yes.
And all the comparisons. So yeah, I've seen the Ultramans from the 60s when they were on in the States, and I remember growing up seeing those with the whole like the Japanese self-defense, or it was the Science Force.
Damn. Yeah, it was like
Luke's going ah!
The Science Patrol.
Science Patrol. Okay, that's right. So, maybe I'll look at that too. I don't know if I brought this up last time, but I was going through back in the summer, maybe back in early August or late July. I sat down, wanted to watch something on Netflix, and watched the Captain Harlock movie that was done in like 2013 or 2014. And all I got to say, wow. Wow. Now, if I've brought this up before, I apologize for being repetitive. I couldn't remember if we discussed this last time, but it was to the point of looking. Did you see the Final Fantasy movie Spirits Within a few years ago? That was like in the early 2000s.
Yes.
It makes that look what that made Starblazers look like. The Captain Harlock movie makes that movie look like. At least to me, the way it looks.
Oh, so, really? Okay.
Yeah, it just looked so wow.
I'm going to have to look that up, definitely.
Yeah, and there was... I don't remember much of Captain Harlock. I don't know if... I remember him from... I think he was in the Galaxy Express 999 movie. I think. You had said you saw that Harlock is on Hulu as well, right?
Yeah, the Captain Harlock series is available on Hulu. And that's something like 52 episodes over 2 seasons.
Oh, okay, because this movie, I'm not familiar that much with the anime. I'm familiar with the character and what he looks like and his ship and everything, but this goes into detail of the movie talks about, sets up what's going on with the Earth, why he's doing what he's doing, how he became Captain Harlock. It's all about his origin. I don't know if it jives with the show, and if it doesn't, maybe it'll piss people off if they go and see it, but I enjoyed it for what it was.
Good. Okay.
So now I'll go back and watch the show. So I would recommend that. I would also recommend, even though it's not anime, but you've got some time and you could watch, I think it was like 10 or 13 episodes, was I watched Torchwood.
Okay.
The latest thing that they put out when they teamed up with Stars a few years ago. Miracle Day. Yeah, it was all right.
Everything I've been hearing about it, it's either it sucks or it's okay. So far, no one has said this is great TV.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Torchwood fan, so I saw a lot of Torchwood themes that were in previous series and callbacks to certain things. But then I saw to where they had a bigger budget and they took advantage of it.
Okay.
But it seemed like it had a lot of padding, though, because of that. Like, hey, we've got a budget. We're going to go here. We're going to go there. And we're going to do this. We're going to do that. And it's like, yeah, okay. Well, why don't you just stick to the story?
Don't show off so much.
Yeah. And where in the beginning I thought Bill Pullman was great, by the end I was like, oh, for God's sakes, just kill him already, please. Can everybody just go back to being killed and we can get rid of Bill Pullman? Because where he was great in the beginning as a serial killer who is going to be sentenced to death, and he doesn't die during the execution, and he's real creepy the first couple episodes. After a while, you're just like, oh man, all right,
shoot him already, will you?
Yeah. Today was our Independence. No, just die. Shut up. Yeah. So all right. Well, I guess we don't have any other straight up anime news.
No new anime news.
Because we suck. Again, people, we're not the purveyors of all things anime, although I do believe we say that in our promo. But
Well, that's just to get him here. Get him listening.
Once you get him in the door.
The first episode's free.
And then we string you out for 4 months. Nothing. Oh, it's Anime Freaks.
Yeah, we don't have any news, and we don't have any email either. I checked the mailbag, and it is sadly lacking. But again, people probably thought that we had pod faded, so why bother writing in?
Exactly. But we're back, bitches. Guess I don't need to say that.
If you're hearing this, obviously, we're back.
Episode 19, Communication Satellite. No, I was trying to go for the whole Led Zeppelin communication breakdown, and forget it.
Yeah, it didn't work. Starblazers, Episode 19, The Communication Satellite.
Otherwise known as?
The long-ass Japanese title is Homesickness of Space. My mother's tears are my tears. And I'll stick with Communication Satellite.
And somebody get a rag and clean them up.
While the Star Force is still on its way to planet Balin, Communications Officer Homer visits the holography room to view images of his hometown. But
Star Trek stole it. Star Trek stole it.
Yes, this is the first appearance of the holodeck. But has an emotional breakdown declaring, "It's all a lie!" Shortly thereafter, the bridge crew sees Captain Avatar communicate with the Earth Defense Command. The Earth Defense Command says that conditions on Earth are tough, but they are getting by, and he gives a complete recap of the series up till now. However, once the transmission ends, Homer blurts out that they are all being deceived, saying that Star Force has no idea where they are going. Then he collapses and is whisked away to the infirmary.
Oh!
Venture says that Homer's actions may have been puzzling, but his concern is a valid one that is on everyone's minds and apparently Nova's breasts. We'll get back to that. Captain Avatar replies that even though there is no guarantee of mission success, the Star Force is Earth's only hope of survival, and they owe it to Earth to believe in their mission. On planet Balin, General Lysis muses on the effectiveness of the communications relay satellite, which he has planted to enable the Star Force to talk to Earth.
Also with the bird picking nits out of his hair.
Which is a rock from planet Ruby, apparently. That's from the Japanese version.
Oh.
The plan is to weaken the Star Force by allowing bad news from Earth to destroy their morale. Back on the Argo, Wildstar discovers Homer secretly making a call to Earth, during which Homer learned that his father is very sick. Upset and homesick, Homer bolts, finds a spacesuit, and jumps out an airlock intent on floating back to Earth. What he floats to is, instead, the Gamelon Relay satellite. Well, makes sense, it's right between the Argo and Earth. His depression and delusion melt away as he realizes the danger this presents. Before long, Wildstar, leading a search party, locates Homer and rescues him. Wildstar hands Homer the firing controls on the sudden second seat in his fighter and lets him blow the satellite to bits. Earth has only 255 days left.
Yeah, luckily they found him before he became like Miles Dyson in Terminator 2.
What I want to know is, I mean, obviously he jumped out of the ship while it was moving, because they're not going to stop, which is how he gets that far away from the ship that once he realizes he has a spacesuit, oh, well, where is he? But how does he keep going? You know what I mean? Yeah. He has no propulsion. How does he...
Well, an object in motion tends to stay in motion, and if there's no outside forces affecting him, which you could say that could be why he was actually drawn to the... although then under that knowledge, you think that maybe he would have smashed into the satellite because he's moving so fast.
But you see,
you could say he was drawn to the satellite because the gravity of it pulled him in.
But the satellite's not that big, first of all, so
no.
Its gravitational effect is negligible. Secondly, he jumped out of a moving ship. Now, anyone that has taken your basic physics class knows the ball on a train scenario where you throw the ball up and it still is supposed to come down because it has the momentum of the train. So if he jumps out of the Argo, let's say he pushes off. He pushes back away from the Argo. Well, the Argo is going to keep moving because it's under engine power, so it's going to keep moving that way. But his momentum of that push does not negate the momentum he already had from the Argo. So he's actually going to be floating further away from Earth when the net forces are realized. And I just bored the hell out of our audience and my co-host.
No. I was just thinking if he pushed backwards from the ship,
his legs would not be able to overcome the momentum from the ship's engines.
Science,
cause anime.
So,
right.
Well, I don't know, but they do bring up in the you know what they bring up in the Japanese version that they say how was Nova, because in the Japanese version there's a version that gets edited out to where Nova comes running out of her stateroom or whatever in her lingerie, which you've actually, I think, posted that picture as
that was part of
Nova Stalker.
The Nova Stalkers episode.
Yeah.
But see, here's the thing.
But she says, I saw him float by my window.
Right. So,
but they say like the exact opposite, that, he would have been going so fast, how could she have seen him? Because they're saying that basically as soon as he got off the ship, that he loses his...
which doesn't make sense.
Right, yeah, because he can't lose all that. Because even if he was on the ass end of the ship, of course, I'm not a physics major, so forgive me. If he's on the back end of the ship and pushes away from it, I mean, he's already moving at that speed... So, yeah, I don't know. And plus, if he was at the back end of the ship and pushed off, he'd push himself into the engines and die. So.
It's all an excuse for Nova to come out.
In her negligee.
Yeah. But, here's the thing.
And her black underwear and sheer pink top.
Yeah, I watch a lot of old movies. Turner Classic Movies is one of my go-to stations. So, in those, you see women, they get up, they put on a robe. Even if it's a see-through robe, which makes no sense to me, they still put that on before they go out. And it looks like Nova has that on because it's got a little tie at the top and everything. I don't see anything except the black panties under that.
Well,
so did she put on a robe because otherwise she would be running out into the hall in only her panties?
We can only hope. Be out there all night trying to see, general alarm! Red alert! Oh, man. Crap.
Now, I did notice that, because as I'm sure you're familiar with, Bill, there are communications within a ship.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to a certain point, pick up a communicator, and talk to somebody else. Apparently, each one of these has its own 7-digit phone number.
Yeah, I saw those, and I was wondering if anybody ever tried to dial those numbers. Because I was thinking, I should dial that number. Who the hell is this? Because they weren't 555; they were actual 7.
No, like number. the one that's listed that WildStar is calling from is 594-0241. So I apologize to whoever has that number.
I was going to say I should get my phone out now and just go. Hello? Yeah. Who was he calling though?
He was calling Conroy.
Oh, I see. Is Conroy there? No, there's no Conroy here. Okay, thanks.
Something else that got edited out from the Japanese version is Homer's dad was not sick.
No, he took part in a riot.
There were riots, and you kind of see a little bit of that when we take
barely. It looks like okay, that could have been a riot or a bunch of people having a party on a rooftop.
Right,
because there's no there. You just see all these things that look like people moving on top of a building, and then cut away. You don't see anything.
Yeah, and then they have police using water cannons to disperse the crowd, and there's fires going on and everything. And Homer's dad, in the Japanese version, actually dies from his injuries.
Mm-hmm.
But in this episode is depressing enough. They don't need to include his dad dying. Although I can see where that would, definitely throw him over the edge.
Yeah, well, and I guess before we get into ripping the actual Starblazers episode apart, I'm going to bring up one more depressing thing, and you and I talked a little bit about it already, and that's that when Homer jumps off the ship, that's not funny. I mean, that's and it's not meant to be, and to some people, they may not realize the implications of that. He's going to die. I joked about it earlier saying, he's going to be out of breath. Well, yeah, he's going to die because he's going to run out of air. He's not thinking through what he's doing. And I sometimes bring up my time in the Navy. And when I was in the Navy, I saw one person die because we were in boot camp and, didn't actually see the person, but There was a lot of yelling. We went to the edge of the building. We were in a class, and there was a guy that had jumped out of the building and landed on the concrete, and like you see in the movies, to use a term, that there was a pool of red slowly moving away from his head, and they called us all back inside. And later on, like on that Sunday, they had the chaplain speak to us, and just to, that's all I want to say about it.
Okay.
And the other time that something like that happened was on my first deployment, and on one of our sister ships, on the Monterey. I was on the Gettysburg, and the Monterey was in the same deployment and in the same battle group, and we had to stop and go back maybe about 100, 200 miles offshore of the United States because somebody went overboard. And although it was never really stated, but some of the other people that I had been on the ship with that been in, it's not uncommon for that to happen as soon as you go on a deployment. I mean, some people just can't deal with the fact that they are going to be completely... Back then it was a little different than it is now. I'm talking 20 years ago. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have pagers. There was nothing like that. I mean, it was very nascent technology. We could not contact people on the ship like they do in the Star Force. There was no... The only way you could communicate with somebody while on board ship was basically you would have to get a emergency message from the Red Cross if you had a family member that had become ill, or you would have to receive a letter or something, and then they would allow you access to communications to talk directly back to the United States or to wherever your family was. So a lot of people can't deal with that separation, or maybe have a lot of things going on, and it was suspected that this person jumped off the ship and was going to swim back to America, back home.
So they were actually doing what they have Homer trying to do in this episode.
Yes.
That is, I mean, we don't mean to bring people down, but this is not a happy episode. And it shows you what that kind of isolation will do to you. And that's obviously it's taken from real life. I'm pretty sure some of the writers knew people that went through this exact same thing, just like you had an experience like that.
Yeah, but, so it was just brought back up things that that I hadn't thought about. I didn't even remember this episode until I watched it, and then I was just like, wow, I remember all this. It was very sobering.
Yeah, and actually going back to what you just said about not being able to talk to home, that's one of the things that Homer in this episode does. Due to the relay satellite, he calls his parents, and his mom actually asks him at one point, is it all right for you to be calling us?
Yeah, and you know what? I would highly suspect, I mean, I'm not in the military now, haven't been for some time. I would still think they probably limit communications and don't allow you to just talk all the time, because it can be somewhat of a distraction depending on where you're at.
Well, not just a distraction,
and a security risk.
Yeah, exactly. It's harmful to the mission, because you can't call somebody and say, "Oh yeah, I can see Sicily from here," when you're not supposed to know.
Right.
The battle group is supposed to be on its own, not being tracked by outside sources.
So the only time we could talk to anybody was when we were in port. And then you would either, if it was on a base, they would sometimes have phone exchanges to where you could go and you pay your money, you make your phone call, or you're out in town and you get exchange for the local money and put it in the phone. And I had a phone card, so I would use that to call back to the States. So yeah, it's communication when you're in the service it means a lot, and it can be devastating at the same time, as is shown here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it's one of those things that you get, especially we have joked about it in other episodes where you have some of the guys say, oh yeah, well, I wish we had some action going on. Well, no, you don't really, but at least the action would break up the worrying about your family. Right.
Yeah, because a lot of times the sheer boredom is what would put people... there's so many things I see. I hate to blab about, when I was in the Navy, did this and do... I got in a fight with one of my coworkers because you're in close proximity to each other for months. And sometimes we're at sea for months. And you're seeing the same people. Just imagine sleeping in a room with 57 other people, and you wake up every day and you go and you eat. I mean, you think traffic is bad, just.
Oh, I've been on Navy ships. I have seen where you would have to sleep, and you think traffic is bad? You don't get that crowded on a city bus.
Yeah, I mean, you live on something that my ship was like maybe 400, 500 feet long and maybe 70, 80 feet wide. That's not a lot of places you can go to get away from people. You're cramped. And there was a few, there would be, occasional fight would break out. And then I remember one time, I guess the testosterone just gets high, and we had like this grand melee, like it was a WWE fight broke out because we were doing all these wrestling moves and we're falling on each other. We're taking couch cushions and we're hitting each other and it got a little out of hand because then there was like a dog pile of people and there was one guy at the bottom and after like 5 guys got out, he's like, so we had to break it up, but you just get all this frustration and you're just like, and at the same time, the sadness and the isolation. So a lot of the things I see on the show just remind me so much of my time in the service.
Yeah.
Which another thing comes up that I'll mention when we do our review of the, when we go step by step through the episode. I have another thing to bring up because they mention it in the write-up, which I'll just bring it up here.
Okay. The
guys that are in the baby blue and white outfits.
Oh, the waiters? Yeah.
They're not waiters, they're called stewards.
Right.
Just a waiter. Well, essentially they
them at the table pouring them a drink.
Essentially they are, because in the Navy, if you're depending on the size of the ship and the manning that they have on it and your rank, you may have to go work what they call mess duty, which is working in the galley, serving food. You can do anything from being the dishwasher to the night baker, which I was the night baker on my second term.
Oh, cool.
I was the night cook and night baker. We would prep all the food for the next day. Oh, it was nice because I didn't have to freaking look at anybody.
Keep your head down.
Yeah.
Put the rolls in the oven.
I would go to quarters in the morning at 8, and then I go to bed, and I could sleep for a little bit and then do what I want for the rest of the day and just go back to work at night. So did that for like 2 months. But my previous tour on that, which was 3 months, I worked in the chief's mess, and I was somewhat of a steward. Now, I wasn't called a steward, but if I had been picked to go work in the officer's mess, which is, then you would actually wear a outfit with like a tie, and you were a waiter, you were a steward, you were a ship steward for an officer. For them, you would serve them their meals because they ate at a big table. It's a whole, just exactly like in that shop.
Yeah, I'm. The more I'm watching this episode, and the more I talk to you about them, I get the feeling that you had a lot of the writers or storyboard artists that were involved in the production of this series that were in the Navy.
Yes, because there's so much naval tradition and little intricacies like this that I'm like, oh wow, that's what that guy's doing. Because even in the write-up, that we read, that was. They said, oh, well, this is never seen, and we're not really sure what this guy was doing. Well, he was that's exactly what he's doing. He's a ship steward. And I served in the chief's mess, and basically I served them. I didn't serve them their food. I cooked them their food, picked up their laundry, would make their beds. They would pay me to make their beds, lazy bastards.
Hey, you got paid to do it.
I did. I did get paid, would get paid $20 a paycheck, a payday, which the Eagle always shit on the 1st and the 15th. So we had a tip jar, and they would put $20 in, so basically they were paying $40 a month for somebody to make their rack for them. And we would get their laundry, clean their bathrooms. That was our job for 3 months, and that wasn't a bad gig. I could have been working in the scullery cleaning dishes
right
all day, or cleaning the mess decks. Screw that. So, but anyway.
All right.
So
while we're on that scene,
okay,
This is
Oh, yeah.
something.
Okay, yeah.
This is something that you had messaged me about yesterday, and then I kept an eye out for it while I was watching it today. And yeah, so Venture has this big speech. Oh, Homer has a point. Captain Avatar, he looks at Wildstar. Then he turns to his other side and looks down at Nova's breasts and asks her a question.
What about you, Nova? I was like, I backed it up. I'm like, did he just, and he talks to her breasts.
Yeah.
He doesn't look in her face.
He looks
down at her breasts and says, what do you think? I was just like, oh my God. I can't believe he did that. I mean, I can't believe that they animated it that way. Somebody had to draw it that way.
Right. That wasn't an actor making a slip. They drew it that way for several seconds on purpose.
I mean, that would have been perfect for like a Starblazers gag reel, to where, you know how they do that in some of the animated movies where they make the phony gag reels.
Right, yeah.
Have him do that and then have Nova like turn and look at him and like point to her eyes like, I'm up here. Up here, jackass. I mean, and she doesn't even look at him. That's the whole thing. She's looking straight forward like, I can't believe he's looking at my chest. Son of a bitch.
Oh, man. Yeah, but,
and they're eating steak? Where the hell are they getting steak?
They're eating steak,
they're
and
drinking
they got
wine.
rolls, they got a bottle of wine, and it's actual red wine. So it's not spring water, it's actually wine.
All right, poor Captain Avatar has to get around the ship when he goes down in the communications room. He has to get around with Dr. Sane working as his crutch. Don't you think Sandor could whip up a 1/4 size wheelchair with that fancy 1/4 size machine he has?
Hey, he made a whole seamless plane.
Yeah, but of course he had to make it 4 times the normal size it should be. I increased size by 4 because my machine makes everything too small. So, and one other thing that was edited out, I guess Dr. Sane's male nurse.
Yes.
He was constantly feeding him sake in the Japanese one.
Yeah, well, and if you look at the image on the website, he looked embarrassed to be doing it. But I just find it...
Show me on your uniform where Dr. Sane touched you.
I just find it nice that Dr. Sane doesn't have to do everything by himself, or when Nova gets a 5-minute break. He actually has a medical staff.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this guy, and then there were 2. They didn't have the Red Cross on the uniform. They were the same, button on the side uniform that the nurse is wearing when Captain Avatar is coming down the hall.
Right.
There were nurses trying to keep people out of the way and everything. So it's just nice that Sane isn't all by his lonesome. And this is Sane writes Homer a prescription to go to the holodeck. And
whoa.
Yes. Wait,
the fancy diagnosis. You're not just going to skip over that, are you?
Okay.
He takes... all right, he had to look in his mouth. Open up. Wider. What are you going to stick your head in there? I mean,
he had
they animated
it
with
machines.
Hooked him up. Oh, wow. And it prints it out. Oh, the diagnosis is homesickness. Really? Really? You had to go through... Why did you have to stick a probe up my butt to find that out, Doc? I mean, that's, I guess, in the really the edited version.
Yes.
What does this have to do with homesickness? So yeah, he says, "Oh, you need to go see Nova in the holography room."
Yes, and we did get a bit of this back in episode 2, where IQ9 does the hula.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
But we haven't seen it since then, which is why saying, "Oh, I notice you haven't been there. This is exactly why we have this. Go see your tape of your mother so you can go cry on the."
Right? How's that going to help me? Okay. In what way? What way is a 3-dimensional representation of what I can't have going to help me? Okay, yeah. How about you put me with the hula girls, Doc? Maybe that. That.
I don't want to see my old mother carrying firewood through the snow. I'm going
to run up to her and pass my hands through her and blubber like an idiot and slam my fists against the deck and cry.
That's what makes him break. Is it's not so much seeing his mother; it's seeing his mother in a situation that he knows doesn't exist anymore.
Right, because maybe we should say because he lived in the northern part of Japan. Although at first I thought, what is he in Tibet?
I thought he was in Norway.
Because all you see, it's like, well, first all you see is mountains. I'm like, okay. Are we going to Everest? What are we doing here?
You see mountains, you see snow, you see fishermen. I thought he was Scandinavian.
Well, in the write-up, there are northern parts of Japan.
Oh yeah,
because they actually hosted the Winter Olympics.
Right.
So, but yeah, it looks kind of like Norway, but I'm like, oh yeah, this is probably northern Japan. So
yeah, it's actually the northern part of the main island Honshu, according to the Japanese write-up.
Now, one thing we didn't bring up that was what was really, we did have a recap of the main plot, like you said, in the synopsis, but I wonder if they edited this episode because we have no recap of the main plot in the beginning of the story like we have every single episode, pretty much to this point. There is no, the year is da-da-da-da-da, the Star Force is traveled the 186,000 light years. That's not in here. This goes straight into Homer.
Yeah,
right after the credits, boom, Homer.
Yeah, I think why they did that, why they skipped the narrator, is because they had Commander Exposition.
Right.
In there.
Right, because they do there, which I didn't even think of that until you read it in the synopsis. I was like, oh yeah, that's where they put it.
So they're trying to work it in a little bit.
Yeah. So, all right, yeah, we talked about Lysis and a goofy bird.
Yeah, hang on.
Oh, wait.
I'm out.
Okay, yeah, good.
Avatar, this is where we were talking before. When Avatar's talking to the Earth Defense Command, he says, yes, we're making space warps twice daily. Wasn't it before, holy crap, we have to do all this calculations and we can't, it's dangerous. Now it's just, it's 9 o'clock, hit the button.
I don't know. Well, next episode we're going to see that we're going to go back to, it takes time to charge up the wave gun.
The plot demands drama, so now it takes 300 seconds to charge the gun, where a couple episodes ago it was just...
Well, no, I think that was how long it was going to take them to turn to get in position to fire. But that's next.
It takes 5 minutes to turn the damn ship?
Science! Yeah. We'll get there. That's the next one. So, yeah, the space warps now are like, boom, boom, boom. We're just knocking them out. Why don't you just do 3 in a day? Come on.
Yeah,
pick up the pace. And somebody's beeping a horn outside. I don't know if you heard that. So, yeah. So
I heard that.
What? My son go? Ew.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing. Kids today. Maybe he's maybe he had that funny bird land on his head like it did for Lysis's.
What the
henchman,
hell was that bird?
Guy's just sitting there in like a motorcycle helmet.
And he has no eye. He has no pupils.
Maybe he was wearing goggles. That's why I said it was a motorcycle helmet. Maybe they're goggles with a thin line and, couldn't really see him. Yeah, because the bird flies over, which it's weird. It looks like, I swear I've seen that on some other cartoon, like a Flintstones. Will somebody answer? God, somebody across the street is just blaring a horn. I'm going to go out there with a wave motion gun. But I'll have to wait. Hold on. Got to charge this so I can shoot your car. Oh, I pulled away. Crap. So, yeah, that bird just...
It's got this weird...
Its neck goes up, comes all the way back down to its ass. It could kiss its own ass because it comes over and it's sitting on Lysis's shoulder and it's just bending its neck like in 180 degrees, picking in his hair, and Lysis is just like it's no big thing.
Yeah, it's a very cartoony bird for this.
It is cartoony.
I agree. It looks like something out of the Flintstones. Like, I can't believe I have to wash the dishes again.
Yeah, it looks like something you'd see under the sink or something. Yeah, it's just nutty. Homer, when he goes out of because the big reveal is that Wildstar catches Homer in the communications room. No, wait. Yeah. Homer goes and relieves his underling, And then he gets on and talks to his mom, and his dad wants him to come back. And in the Japanese one, like we said, his father actually dies, but here he's just sick. And, his mother wants him to come home. And that's when he turns and he sees Wildstar. And Wildstar, Captain Brilliant, you've been talking to Earth all along. Duh. But then he says to Wildstar, which is, now that we know Wildstar's story, it's kind of heartless because he's like, you guys don't care anything about your families back on Earth.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much of Wildstar's background is
they don't.
public knowledge.
No, but we as the viewer, when we're like, oh man, that
stings. Yeah.
It's like, which he doesn't. Wildstar doesn't really chase him at first. He's kind of like, he's kind of stunned by that too. And then Homer goes up to Venture Gump, flying the ship, and we gotta turn around. My father's sick. My family, and Venture's like not even turning his head, barely looking at him. He's like, we gotta get to Iskandar.
We'll go home when we finish our mission.
Gamelon's
Shut the hell up.
Gamelon's do as Gamelon's does. Gotta keep flying. And then Homer like really at that point just like has a psychotic break, and he's like, screams and runs off, and that's when he gets in the airlock and goes by Nova's window going, why did I jump out?
No, stop, I want to go back.
Yeah, and then while he's floating out in space, he sees the what he thinks is the Earth, and and he's and again it's just it was just so sad because he actually calls for his mommy and his daddy. He's going, Mommy, Daddy, I'm coming home, and you're just like, man, it's a very, very heavy episode.
This isn't an episode that you look at and say this is not a kid's show.
Which maybe that's why I didn't remember it as much as a kid. Because one, I'll never forget it now because of life experience and other things. But then that's a boring episode.
Well, you see, this is one of the ones that stuck out in my head when I saw it as a kid, and then hadn't seen it for a number of years. This is one of the ones that I always remembered Homer floating out in space. Yes. It was this episode and the one where Sandor's arms come off.
See, I remember that one, but this one, for some reason, I just really didn't remember it.
Yeah, I don't know why. It stuck with me, and it's a powerful episode. And
we finally, after many sad, and I think we had a slightly different sad music motif during this one as well. One we hadn't heard before, like the sad tune played with a different instrument. I want to say it was like a flute or something. There was something that I hadn't heard before.
Yeah, it was different. Yeah.
It was the same sad music, but played with, slightly differently. Yeah, okay, too many LY words there, Bill. But then we finally get some the happy-go-lucky inspirational music when they blow up the Gamelon satellite, and But Homer's finally like, yeah, I shouldn't be talking to Mom and Dad. I'm good. Let's go. Oh yeah, okay. yeah, sure, Homer. Soon as they land. Lock this man up.
Okay, you're going to the brig.
Psych eval right now. Put him on meds. You're relieved of command.
Yeah. But he's back on duty in the next episode.
Yep. Which, do we really have anything else to say?
No, I think we covered. Well, at least we covered all my notes.
Yeah. We covered mine. I mean, it's a very hard episode to get through. If you're, it's just really powerful, I guess.
Yes.
Would be a good word. It's, So now I guess we'll get on to something maybe a little bit lighter.
A little bit. Yeah.
Get it? Lighter. Because the next episode we're going to cover is episode 20, Artificial Sun. And what was the Japanese name on this one?
The Japanese name for this was The Day Planet Balin's Sun Fell.
Okay, well that's
a little on the nose, don't you think?
That's not giving away the entire plot in the opening. I mean, artificial sun's kind of leaves vague. Oh, it's an artificial sun. I wonder what that means. Not, we're going to drop it on the freaking planet. Oh, Day Planet Bell, whatever. So anyway, episode 20, Artificial Sun. Or as I like to say, don't let the sun go down on me. Sorry. The Star Force finally arrives at Planet Balan, the halfway point to Iskandar, unaware that the Gamelons have a base there. Derek Wildstar and Conroy scout the area. Okay, and I just gotta point out, why is he in a never mind. Well, I'm gonna fly in a ship with no weapons. Anyway. Noticing that Balan's sun seems to orbit the planet, and not the other way around. Then they encounter missile fire from Balan and discover the Gamelon base. When they return to the Argo, Wildstar suggests they destroy the base now so they don't have to worry about it on the way back. As the Star Force begins to attack the Balan base, Wildstar asks one of the other bridge members to keep an eye on the sun, saying he has a hunch about it, but will explain later. I guess he gets that from Doctor Who. Meanwhile, General Lysis, who is, guys, maybe the bird was done grooming his head, who is with his fleet far out in space away from planet, and I must note that it was 50 megameters, shoots an activation beam of what turns out to be an artificial sun. Lysis says he wants to trap the Argo between the sun and the base, even if it means sacrificing the base. Horrified, Volgar reports this to Deslok. As the sun forces the Argo closer to the Gamelon's Balan base, Wildstar points the ship towards the sun. Suddenly, the sun stops. Having heard of Lysis's plan, Deslok has ordered him to call off the attack. The delay gives the Star Force the time it needs to use the Argo's wave motion gun to destroy the sun, fragments of which rain down on the Balan base and also destroy it. Lysis and his fleet retreat into space. Back on board the Argo, Wildstar explains how he suspected that the sun was not real. Captain Avatar then formally designates him as the Argo's deputy captain, ceding some of the responsibilities of running the ship to him. Earth has 253 days left.
Okay, so now we know why Venture was talking back to Wildstar in the previous, couple episodes ago, because he wasn't officially the deputy captain. I could have sworn that had happened earlier in the series, but maybe that was just Wildstar and Avatar talking, and the words deputy captain didn't come up.
Yeah. So, I mean, does this mean he's going to have to wear that damn heavy coat?
Not until the next series.
maybe Captain Avatar would get better if he would just take that coat off.
I don't know.
I'm having a hard time getting around. Well, maybe if he didn't sleep in that coat.
and the hat.
And the hat, and have surgery in the coat.
He at least took the coat off for surgery. The hat stayed on.
Yeah, I'm like, do you take a shower with that coat on? I mean, because that's got to be, man, if that's like a pea coat. Man. I had a pea coat, and that was thick, heavy wool. Mm-hmm. I mean, man, that thing's heavy. So anyway.
You've seen the Polar Express, right?
Yeah.
The cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
You know how when the conductor takes his hat off, he is completely bald under exactly where the hat sits? I think that's what's going on with Avatar. That's why he doesn't take the hat off, because all you see is just the hair that you see is all he has.
I think his skin's grown into his hat. Can't take it off. Oh my god.
Yeah. Now here's something that is, I don't think, discussed in the Japanese version or in the American version. Why are they on an unarmed fighter or scout ship or whatever?
Yeah, it's not really clear. But
no,
it's a modified ship because the seats are now side by side instead of front back.
Yeah, so that makes it easier for Wildstar to shift IQ-9 into piloting for no good reason.
Yeah. Right. So I guess because they made it wider, they had to remove all the weapons.
Yeah, but
sorry.
They could have just said something like, "Oh yeah, Wildstar's piloting the unarmed scout ship because it has more sensors or whatever."
Yeah, I mean,
just add a line. They added a line with Avatar thinking something about Wildstar's judgment in the American version.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't in the Japanese. About basically they're talking about how Wildstar insisted that only Conroy go with him rather than a whole squadron. And Avatar thinks to himself, I wonder if I need to worry about his judgment.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the episode, where at the end he names him deputy captain, but whatever.
How does IQ-9 know this is the only sun that orbits a planet in the galaxy?
I don't know. I mean, Earth
just saying.
Earth ships could barely get to Pluto in a week. I mean,
so he's like, this is the only planet where the sun orbits it in the galaxy. What you mean? You mean up until you guys have explored? Shut up, IQ9.
You could just say, "Holy crap! The sun is orbiting the planet." That ain't right.
Yeah. That's,
Whatever.
Now, see if you get this note that I have, starring Volgar as Frankenstein's monster. Because in a scene to where Lysis is looking at them approaching, you have Volgar walking behind Lysis, and his legs, his knees are not bending, and he's grunting, going, and he's walking back and forth behind Lysis. And I'm going, what is he doing?
Sun bad.
Light, fire. I was like, what the hell is going on? And his face, he's making these faces. Fire bad. I was just...
Although I have to say that, Volgar, he grows a pair in this one because he likes his base on Balin and doesn't want Lysis to smash the sun into it.
I mean, because I don't think Volgar, he didn't want to lose all his cool stuff.
Yeah, he didn't want to lose that weird painting or his concubine.
Oh, he's going to smash my room.
So what does Volgar do? He goes over Lysis's head and calls Deathlock.
He runs like a little bitch. Straight in the
Mommy, he's going to destroy my stuff.
Okay, but what I don't understand is why did Deathlock stop him? That's what it's like. That seems like...
Well, if
it's going to work...
Well, yes, it's going to work, but it's going to kill all the Gamelons on the base.
No, didn't they get them all out? Oh, wait, no, they did leave like the small group of guys. No, right. Was there people still on the base? Was there...
They never showed
because they could have just automated those weapons.
Yeah, they never showed anybody.
Yeah, they don't show anybody.
But still, I mean, Deathlock has been shown in the past to not want to win at all costs. Well, he wants to win, but he doesn't want to destroy his empire doing it.
Yeah.
Lysis will ram a sun into a planet if the Star Force is between the two.
But I could have sworn, unless I'm thinking different seasons, I could have sworn that earlier in this season that Deathlock said something to Crypt or one of his generals that, like, then why are you still alive, or why this, and that, like...
Well, he said to Crypt, he said, don't return to Gamelon unless you destroy the Star Force. He never say, kill yourself and your entire fleet, which is what happened.
It could, at this point, though, you would think that if you've got someone that seems to have a pretty good plan, and right in the middle of it possibly working, you're going to stop them. Yeah. Maybe I'm just cold-hearted, but but been like, well, we'll get rid of the Star Force, and then just reprimand Lysis later. Or maybe, because then I thought, well, maybe Deathlock really deep down wants to do it himself, but and maybe he's got something against Lysis.
No, because
I don't remember how it plays out towards the end exactly.
Yeah, I don't either.
I remember the last episode to where which I won't spoil too much, to where you say he doesn't want to, where you could say that Deathlock does want to win at all costs because of what he does in the last episode.
Yeah, but that's after
that's right. That is after something big happens, which I won't say.
Okay. So his attitude does change.
Because then he could be a man that has nothing left to lose then.
Exactly. But one thing in this that they cut out was when they're doing the recon, they fly over and they see a bunch of skeletons of what look like the Balanosaurus.
Which
was made up of all these single-cell organisms and whatnot, but it looks like there used to be a Balanosaurus
Rex.
They used to have those creatures there, and the Gamelons basically destroyed them all.
Well, did you read up on the Japanese one?
Yeah.
That those creatures were alive, and this is how deep of a plan Lysis has. There's a thing, I guess originally... I've been reading some of those. There was a plan for a 39-episode season.
Right. That was before the current the actual 26 episode season was ordered, they had 13 more episodes worth of plot
Yeah.
that they were working on, and some of that filtered in.
Right. Which last episode, part of that long game, mental mind F game that Lysis was playing was the whole allow the Star Force to talk to the Earth so that their morale will erode from in, and that will destroy the. He's playing these long, elaborate things, and that was a lot of the episodes were that, and it's mentioned that Lysis, but he's actually, what is his name? Dormal.
Where is it?
D something. D-bag. Dommel? Is it Dommel?
I lost
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Bird cleans my head.
Domel, yeah. D-O-M-E-L.
That he actually... okay. He killed all the Balanosauruses he could find to entice the Star Force to attacking the base.
Right.
Because they would be so upset that they killed all the Balanosauruses that they would attack the base. Whereas, because this is one of the things that they say in the write-up, that the American version made much more sense when Wildstar says, hey, let's kill these, let's get rid of these guys now so we don't have to deal with them later. Not, oh my God, I got my card member, I'm a card member of PETA, or it would be SPPETA, space,
yeah,
people for the ethical treatment or PETBA, for the people for the ethical treatment of Balanosauruses. But no. So, and actually, we jump ahead to the end. Now let's get through the Sun, Mr. Sun, Mr. Golden Sun. Too many kids shows. You probably see. That's probably before, because your little girl's small now. So
yeah.
Mr. Golden Sun. What was that in? I think that was Barney. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Barney has never been on even 1 second.
Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on. Oh no, that's Wilbur. I think that's Wilbur. Wilbur the cow. Anyway, I've gone too far.
Yes, you have.
I didn't watch a lot of kids show. Didn't affect me. So, all right. So they decide we're gonna attack the base. Now did you notice some weird animations of the ship? Some really goofy angles that it just didn't look drawn well.
Yeah, it's like they
there's no way, like somebody squashed it from the top. Just like there's no way you turn that ship, it's going to actually look like that.
Yeah, I think it probably got something like at the last minute. Oh, we need this.
Yeah,
this animated. Quick, do it.
Swick, send Bob in there to. Yeah, okay, thanks, Bob. That's great. It looks like a sausage, but just throw it in.
Mm-hmm.
Do it live. Oh, sorry. And in the whole Sun thing, I think we have an actual credit shot of
the whole
blowing up of the Sun.
The blowing up of the Sun, that in pretty much entire sequence is lifted for the end credits.
Mm-hmm.
At the very beginning of the end credits.
Yeah. I had another note. I guess Captain Avatar had sunstroke. Because as maybe maybe if you didn't wear that big heavy coat.
Yeah.
As the artificial sun was falling, you wouldn't have had to have passed out almost and gone off the bridge.
Although I do like the line from Eager, because Wildstar says, Eager, pay attention to the sun. And Eager says, oh, all right, but I don't need any more freckles.
All right, but I don't need any more freckles. Can I stop looking at the sun? I'm going blind. And Wildstar, he's so coy. Just tell him. What do you... I got a hunch about that Sun. Really? How about you let me in so I know what the hell's going on?
Yeah,
what do you got?
Tell us
this nugget of knowledge? Like I'm not going to tell anybody. And then at the end, he has the whole big elaborate explanation. So how did you know that Sun was artificial? What?
Yeah, well, that all comes when, even though they're 44 days behind schedule, they stop on Balin to take samples.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I could. They could say just don't in the Japanese when they say to get food stores.
Well, yeah, and that makes sense because that big space turtle, as they call it, is going to end up as turtle soup.
But actually, in the Japanese one, they say that actually is a Balanosaurus, but looks nothing like the thing that they fought before.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, a space turtle soup. And then Dr. Sane is going to bathe in the shell. He's just such a sicko. And he's going to have, IQ 9's going to be there. Would you like a towel, doctor?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I could be. You never know.
It's happening.
But doesn't metal melt at a temperature that you hit before you actually get to the surface of a sun? Doesn't that usually start like in the corona?
My corona. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I would think so.
So why are they so worried about, the sun's going to hit us in 2 minutes? Well,
Science!
By that time, the ship would have melted.
Yeah, that whole, let's see. It's going to take us 300 seconds to turn to get into position to fire on the sun. And Eager's like, we've only got 290 seconds.
Yeah.
And then we cut to Lysis. They only have 290 seconds. Just as I planned. Oh, shut up. You douchebag. You had, that's why I pressed the button when I did. Freaking Dr. Evil.
Yeah, but, even though Deathlock stops everything and slaps Lysis down, the base is still destroyed.
Yeah, and in the end, they still lost the base, and the Star Force got away. Dumbass.
Part of me is wondering if the writers said, we haven't shown Deathlock in about 10 episodes.
Yeah, let's have Volgar run off panel.
Yeah.
Leader Deathlock. He's going to destroy my stuff.
At which point Deathlock would be, well, I don't like tattletales, Volgar.
He's going to destroy my Velvet Melanosaurus painting collection.
No, I think he's still worried about his concubines.
Oh, I wonder if they left them there. All non-essential personnel will stay on the base.
Yeah, Lysis would have left them there just to piss off Volgar.
Oh, what a dick move.
Oh. No. Half-naked chicks have to stay.
Ooh, wow. But my bird comes with me. Yeah, such a good little bird. A good bird.
You must pick the lice out of my hair. That's why he's called Lysis.
Space Lysis. Daddy has lice in his hair. Please get that for me. That was Lysis's bird, in case nobody knew.
I hope so. Yeah. I didn't think Alvin made that noise.
He would be, Alvin would be eating the space bird. But I mean, this was a pick me up from last episode.
Yeah. This is more the action packed. Oh, we gotta get take care of this. We gotta fire the wave motion gun. So they seem to know their pacing.
Yeah.
They don't have too many heavy episodes in a row. They always get back to the action.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see pretty quick. We're going to be wrapping this up because, like we said, there's only 6 episodes left after this.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to Gamelon. We're going to end up on Iskandar. We're going to get a resolution to a whole bunch of stuff. Bang, 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 bang.
Mm-hmm.
In the next few episodes, which is why if you look at it as originally there was 39, you can see where the extra 13 would have been.
Yeah.
Because it's so slow in the beginning, just getting out of the solar system, then that's a much better paced show, and then it's like, let's wrap it all up right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could see it would take longer to get out of the solar system only because they have to fight their way out of the solar system.
Right.
But
now they're going...
But yeah, now they're doing...
towards Gamelon, so, you would think that there would be even more resistance. And we're going to see a couple big battles coming our way, so
yeah, we've got the Rainbow Galaxy coming up.
Yep, that's a 2-parter.
So yeah, that's there was one other thing that they did that I forgot to mention was when the sun was barreling down on them, was that Wildstar kicked in the engines in reverse to gain some distance between himself and the sun, while at the same time rocketing them even faster towards the planet's surface, which is kind of a ballsy move. But if you're going to die and you've got a chance to try to pull it out, because they did gain some time. And then actually when Lysis took his finger off the button, which is kind of silly, you have to keep your finger on a stupid button to make the sun constantly, because when Deathlock comes and says something, he takes his finger off the button. I would have just kept that button down and said, "What? I can't hear you. What? Sorry, sir, bad connection." So yeah, that was kind of a like a ballsy. Kind of reminds me like a little bit of like maybe like a Kirk Star Trek II Wrath of Khan move, like a tactical maneuver.
Right.
You know, like the whole Z minus 10,000 meters and then popping up behind Khan. But no. So, but hey, you know, somebody's gonna drop a sun on you. You got to come up with something.
Oh yeah, and quick too.
Mm-hmm. So, well, I guess we've reached the end of another one. Unless you've got anything else to add. I'm kind of emotionally out from the first episode and actioned out from the second one.
Yeah, this was a very interesting couple episodes to go through. But yeah, I've covered everything I wanted to.
Okay. Well, I guess next time, to steal Andy Leyland's line.
Well, he's not going to be using it much more, is he?
Oh, what does that mean? That the copyright is open?
I don't know. Well, no, he's using it on Listen to the Prophets now.
Damn. Oh, that's right. Son of. Well, I don't have the list in front of me because I'm a boob.
Oh, I do.
Oh, okay. So what do we got next time?
Next time, we have Challenge of the Rainbow Galaxy, followed by the Battle of the Rainbow Galaxy.
Ooh.
So we got some big stuff going on, including one of the famous things that they copied for the live-action Starblazers, or Space Battleship Yamato movie, which is the drill missile.
Oh, cool.
And those that know about it are now looking forward to it. Those that don't know, you're in for a treat.
All right. Well, as always, everybody can go catch these on Hulu. And I believe you said this is now on Hulu Plus.
Yes, you can now stream it through all your other devices on Hulu Plus. It is no longer web only.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't have Hulu, although it was free on Hulu, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was the free side of Hulu.
Yeah, it's if you go to the website, it's free. I believe they're still on YouTube.
Yeah, that's where I watched it last night.
Yeah.
It was on YouTube, so
Yeah.
that's so it's still there. And if you have ad blocker, you don't have to watch ads. So, all right. Well, I guess we will be back in a month or so to cover our next episodes. Until then, everybody, stay safe. I don't know why I said that.
I can't follow that.
Stay safe. Come on. We got to come up with a better exit line than that, man. Stay safe. Don't take any Bolonosaurus nickels.
Don't go crying to Deathlock.
Don't be a snitch. You know? Yeah.
I was waiting for Lysis to turn to him to Volgar and say, snitches get stitches.
I have a job for you. Next you see Volgar in his underwear and he's picking the nits off of the bird.
Sitting on a perch.
Sitting on a perch. All right. There you go. That'll be our outro. Bye, everybody. See you later.
Bye.
Visit our website at twotruefreaks.com. Two True Freaks is always spelled TWOTRUEFREAKS. You can email Two True Freaks directly at twotruefreaks@gmail.com. Two True Freaks and all of its excellent affiliates are available on iTunes, and you can choose to subscribe to either the entire network if you wish, or pick whichever individual shows you want to follow. We have so many shows to choose from, there's just bound to be one that appeals to your particular fandom. Just search Two True Freaks with an exclamation mark at the end, space, and the number 2. You can find Two True Freaks on Facebook. Just search for Two True Freaks. Dumbass. If you ever leave your house and you actually have friends, why don't you tell them about Two True Freaks? If you've enjoyed our show, please won't you take a moment to rate us on iTunes? That helps others find the show too. Thanks for listening, and join us every Monday for new episodes of Two True Freaks.